All right, I'm going to take you through the Honors Algebra 2 Chapter 1 study guide. If you have any questions regarding this, please talk to your teacher. And here we go. So the first question, they're asking me to graph the function, a parent function, and describe the transformation. So the parent function for this is y equals x squared, or f of x equals x squared. So I'm going to graph that one first. It's a parabola. So I have points 1, 1, 2, 4. And so I'm going to do the parabola right here in red. So there is the parent function. Now let's talk about the new function. The vertex of the new function is at 2, 3. All right, so I'm going to go over here and add 2, 3, and put a dot on the graph. Now, you can make an XY chart. You can do a variety of things here. You can use a graphing calculator to graph these, but ultimately it's a downward parabola. Now, I've taught my class talking about just if you go over 2, it's 4a. So over 2, down 2. Notice I'm going in increments of 2. If I go over 4, I'm going to go down 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8. And so there's the graph of the new function. Now it's a little easier to talk about, and I'm going to get rid of this little box here. It's a little easier to talk about the transformations that are involved. So the negative sign that's out in front is a reflection on the x-axis. The half is a vertical stretch by a half. The inside is a translation to the right 2, and also a translation up 3. On your test, you will be asked to do all of those. Graph the new function, graph the parent function, and describe all the transformations involved. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 transformations on this one. Next one, write a function for g using the indicated transformation. Again, g of x, and what are they asking me to do? A reflection over the x-axis. Anytime you're doing a reflection on the x-axis, you do negative the entire function. So this would be g of x equals 2x minus 1. Then it's asking me to do a translation down 3. Again, you're taking the whole function minus 3. And so the answer to the first one is g of x equals 2x minus 4. A horizontal stretch by a factor of 3, followed by a translation 2 to the left. All right, so I got g of x equals, again, horizontal stretch by a factor of 3. You're replacing x with 1/3 x. And then a translation 2 to the left. You are replacing x again by x plus 2. Now, I want my class to go ahead and distribute and add like terms inside here. So I'd have 1/3 x. 2/3 plus 1 would be 5/3 minus 4. So the answer to this question is right there. Write an equation line passing the point 2, -3, and -4, 7. With that being said, you got to find the slope first. So y minus y over x minus x, you end up getting 10 over -6, which is -5/3. So there's your slope. Now, using one of those points and the formula, y minus y sub 1, slope x minus x sub 1. So y minus 7 equals -5/3, x minus a -4. When you minus a negative, you need to make it a positive. And now it's a matter of distributing and then solving it for y. So I'm going to distribute -5/3 x minus 20/3, and then add 7. And so the answer you should have, I kind of ran out of space, would be y equals -5/3 x. Again, adding and subtracting fractions can be an issue for some people. -20/3 plus 7 would be +1/3. Write an equation of the line passing through the point 4, negative 2, and is parallel. We'll talk about the parallel and perpendicular here. Let's start with parallel first. If I want a parallel line, I want the same slope. So I want the slopes of them to be the same. So I need to find the slope of the first one. 5x plus 4, y would equal 5 halves x plus 2. So here's the original line. The slope of the original line is 5 halves. So I want to write an equation that is parallel through that point. So y minus 2 minus a negative 2, so it's plus 5 halves x minus 4. Distribute y plus 2 equals 5 halves x minus 10. Subtract 2, y equals 5 halves x minus 12. This is the parallel. On your test, they're not going to ask you to do both on the same question, but they could ask this same question doing perpendicular. So let's talk about what you would do for perpendicular. Instead of using the same slope, 5 halves, the perpendicular slope would actually be 2/5 negative. It's the opposite reciprocal. And then I would do the exact same thing. Y minus the y of the point, slope, x minus the x of the point. Distribute negative 2/5 x plus 8/5, and then subtract 2. The answer to the perpendicular would be negative 2/5. So this one is for perpendicular. On your test, they won't ask you both on the same question, but they will ask you both on the test. So you'll need to know how to do something parallel, and you'll need to know how to do something perpendicular. Next, you need to be able to do something in which you are given 2 points. I know I did this one as a word problem. So at the Clean Car Detail Company, Tim is paid a daily salary plus a commission. When the detail is 3 cars, it's $125, and 5 cars, he earns $175. You still need to find slope in the same way. Y minus y over x minus x. So you end up getting a slope of 25. Then write an equation, just like you did on the previous question. So I get, pick a point, doesn't matter, y minus y of a point, slope, x minus x of a point. Y equals, distribute, add like terms, you end up getting y equals 25x plus 50. Here's what that means. Tim's daily salary is $50. His commission for cars is $25 for each car. Now, how much would he make if he sold 8 cars? 25 times 8 plus 50 is what he would make. And so Tim, if he sold 8 cars, would make $250. Next one. Solving a system of equations, and it's just 2 equations with 2 unknowns. I realize that we've done some 3 equations with 3 unknowns, but right now we're just doing 2. I don't care your method. You can do graphing, even though you don't have a graph here. You could do substitution. You could do elimination, but you must show your work. You must show exactly how you did it. Well, graphing, since I don't have a piece of graph paper here, is not an option. So I'm going to do elimination if that's okay. I want to get rid of y. So I'm going to multiply the top one by 4. 8x minus 4y equals 20. Common mistake is not multiplying everything in a particular equation by the number. I left the bottom one alone. Y's canceled, and I solve. So x would equal 4. Now, go back up into any equation, and in place of x, write 4. 8 minus y equals 5. Subtract 8. Y would equal 3. Now, my students, especially, I want this written as a point. All answers need to be written as a point. It's always x, then y, so the point 4, 3. You must be able to solve equations by graphing. You must be able to solve equations by substitution and by elimination. And yes, on the test, I will specify on certain problems how you have to do it. So you need to know all 3. 3 equations, 3 unknowns, what we just learned here just recently in the class. Now, I need to be able to eliminate one of the letters. It does not matter which letter you decide to eliminate. I decided to go ahead and eliminate x. So I'm going to multiply this one by 2. Negative 2x, negative 6y, positive 4z equals negative 4. I'm going to leave the top equation alone. X's cancel. Negative 5, I add now 5z equals 10. I now have little options now. I went ahead and eliminated x in the first two, so I need to use the third one, and I also need to eliminate x. So I'm going to take the top equation times negative 2 this time. So now negative 4x minus 2y minus 2z equals negative 28. The bottom equation, I didn't have to multiply by anything. X's cancel again. Negative 8y plus z equals negative 33. With that being said, now I want to eliminate one of the letters again. I'm going to go ahead and multiply this one by negative 5. So I get negative 40y, negative 5z equals positive, 165. C's cancel. Negative 50 y equals oops, sorry about that. This is a positive. I made a mistake there. Hopefully you caught that. Multiplying by a negative 5, that should be positive. 35y equals 175. Caught my mistake there. Divide by 35. Y is equal to 5. Now, go back. If y is 5, then anywhere where you see a y, you can replace it with a 5. Negative 8 times 5 plus z equals negative 33. Solve for z. Z is equal to 7. Not a lot of room left here, but if y is 5, z is 7, I can go back up here. 2 times x plus 5 plus z is equal to 14. 2x plus 12, subtract 12, I get x to equal 1. Again, my class for sure, I want to write this out as an ordered triple. So I have 1 for x, 5 for y, 7 for z. Last one. I want to be able to eliminate one of the letters. I'm going to go ahead and do x again. So I'm going to take the top equation times negative 1. I'm going to get negative x, negative 2y, positive 7z. That's a 7. Let me erase that because it's not the best. 7z equals positive 4. Positive x, 3y, minus 12z equals negative 11. That's the bottom. X's cancel. Y minus 5z equals negative 7. Now, I need to be able to eliminate x again. I took the first equation and the third equation over there, so now I need the middle one. I'm going to take the top one times negative 2. Negative 2x, negative 4y, positive 14z equals positive 8. 2x plus y plus z equals 13. X is gone again. Negative 3y plus 15z equals 21. Now I need to take those two answers together. I'm going to multiply this one times 3. I get 3y minus 15z equals negative 21. Uh-oh. Y's cancel, z's cancel, and the number cancels. This is an infinitely many solution question. Now, do not leave your answer that way. Here's what we're going to do. I want to make sure to explain this as best I can. Z is automatically A. So there's your first answer. Next, in place of Z, put A and solve it for another letter. So y minus 5a equals negative 7. Adding 5a to both sides, y is equal to 5a minus 7. And the last one I have to come up with is x. And I'm going to extend this page a little bit. X plus 2y minus 7z equals negative 4. So now, in place of y, I'm going to put 5a minus 7. In place of z, I'm going to put an a. Distribute. Add like terms. And solve it for x. So x equals negative 3a. Add 14, you get 10. So if you wanted to write this as an ordered triple, x, y, z. Hopefully you were able to understand that. Here's what that means. In theory, you could pick any number you want for a, and that ordered triple would work in all three equations. I'm going to give you an example here. If a was, let's say, 2, then the point, so a is 2, you would get, if I plug 2 in for a, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 plus 10 would be 4. 2 times 5 is 10 minus 7 would be 3. So the point 4, 3, 2 would work in every single one of those equations. 4 for x, 3 for y, 2 for z, and it works in all three. You could do that for any value of a that you wanted. And again, that's why it's infinitely many solutions. So hopefully you understand that. If you have any questions, please make sure you talk to your teacher, and good luck on your test.